Welcome to the new home of the DISH podcast, also known as Forestiers Disease. DISH stands for Diffuse Idiopathic Skeletal Hyperostosis. And if you're here, you probably already know that. You probably know more than your medical professionals that you're dealing with, just like all of us. That was how this podcast came about. Anyway, we're going to be talking to people. We're going to be enjoying our time together. And hopefully we can share some information with you that'll make your day a little bit better. Because I know I need to feel better. I'm tired of this shit. All right, so on tonight's episode, we're going to have Cari. Cari, where are you located again?
I live in Phil, New Hampshire.
Your reception is coming in and out.
Oh, no. Is it bad? Wait. Is that better or no?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I think it's because I might have had it on speakerphone. Sorry.
It's all right.
So I'm in Clarksville, up on the Vermont-Canadian border.
You're way up there.
Yeah, I'm way up here, yes.
I'm down here in South Florida.
Love it in Florida.
So, I can't take the cold weather. I would imagine how's the cold weather for you?
It gets bad, but sometimes I think it helps with inflammation. You know, just because it's always because it's just cold and I'm not hot and I do a lot of stuff outside too. I like to snowmobile, so I kind of just like ignore the pain. But I do way better when I'm in Florida. I'm not gonna lie.
Understand that. How'd you get started on this journey?
So in 2005, I was floating in the lake and I jumped off the float on my back, on my thoracic spine, and it broke my spine that day, and I didn't have a clue. So a few months later, I started to go paralyzed off and on. And then it started on this whole crazy journey with some of the best doctors in the world. And I think at first from the thoracic break, my bladder, and I went to multiple neurosurgeons, and they didn't want to operate on thoracic spine. So my first thoracic surgery was in 2007. And 6 months later, I think I had, what did I have done there? T1112.
Yeah, my problem.
1112.
T10, mine's T10, T11.
Yeah, and then 6 months later, that's when they found out I had DISH. Because apparently, when you have DISH and you have a surgery, it's the calcium will grow where they operated on. So they went in and put in a metal mesh titanium cage. And then, like, I have literally had a spine surgery or 2 spine surgeries every year up until 2009. In 2007. I think I've had 30 surgeries overall that whole time, but 17 of them been, and then I had T7 and 8 done. It's kind of crazy. Like I sometimes can't believe it.
Let me ask you, when did you get like diagnosed with DISH?
2007.
Okay, so that was right after your accident and you broke your spine.
Yeah, right after my first surgery. I think I was 29.
And they noticed
told me I had
what?
DISH.
An X-ray, an MRI?
They noticed it because right after I had the surgery, the same stuff all over again, and I was having spinal cord compression. Because for me, the spinal cord cuts off my fluid and paralyzes me. So after the first time, the second surgery, he told me I was going to be with him for the long haul because that wasn't just the first area that I had DISH in. So I had it in my cervical spine and my lumbar, and I also had it in some of my joints. So we just work slowly and surely on every level, all the time.
Okay, so they've done operations on the levels, so they just keep doing it.
They just keep doing it. And then I had, one surgery. I came out and I only had one lung because they couldn't reinflate my lung because it was my lung had attached itself to my heart from the damage inside. So I had to go and I had a floating rib, and I think in 2011 I was complaining that I felt like I was being inside out, and in fact I was. I had a floating rib and the calcium had grown on it, and when I had it removed in 2013, they said it was a dagger, and they put in a titanium rib, which gave me a wonderful infection for a whole year. That's a whole nother ball game.
I've had an infection. I know about those.
Yeah, and I had drain tubes and PICC lines, and I got C. diff. I had to have a fecal transplant. It was lovely. Like, let me tell you, it was lovely. It's crazy. So the dish, it loves to grow my body. And currently what's happening right now is I am mummifying from the inside out right now. So I've opted not to have any more surgery. And we're going to go from there.
A lot of people say this is hereditary. I know that you had mentioned, I think it was in one of your videos that you, or somewhere on one of your sites, you mentioned your father and someone else in your family had it too.
So my father and my grandfather, so they were never like diagnosed with it, but they have a lot of the same things that I have. But I'm not sure. They had the same problems, everything, but I've come to recently find out that, it is a metabolic thing. And I could have had this, as early as my teens, show up as something different.
What do you mean?
Well, so apparently from what I've come to understand, because one of my children, so when you're younger, you break bones. And when you grow older, you don't break them as much. So I guess when you're younger and if I go with yes, it's hereditary, what I've been told by some of my doctors is that your bones aren't fully grown and they will break. So like my son broke bones, I think he's on his 12th break and he's 24. So do I think it's genetic? I think it's somewhere in our genes. I don't necessarily believe what they say that, because, when you look at the research, they're like, you have to be Chinese, a man, have to have diabetes. Well, we don't have any of those things,
Anybody else in the family have it?
I don't know. My family is a little bit toxic, and since I've had this, I kind of cut out anyone in my life that's toxic. All right.
Welcome to the
Whose
club.
family is it?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
It's been over 20 years, so I understand
Yep.
that. I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. So I've had to learn how to walk multiple times. I learn how to read. It's been a crazy ride.
Sounds like it. But you're still so active.
Yeah.
Well, you're still so active with everything.
Because I refuse to give up. And this is a thing, though, with dish, you cannot stop. You have to continually move. I mean, if you're miserable, okay, get up 5 minutes. You have to get up every hour and do something. Because what's happening is your body is freezing, and the more you don't use it, you lose it. And so with us dishies, we can't do, and I joke because, after I have a surgery, sometimes I'll be in a wheelchair. And it's, just literally 1 pound at a time. I start with 1 pound weights, and then the next thing you know, I'm up to 100-pound weights. It's a lot of physical therapy. It's a lot of yoga. It's a lot of mindset work. You have to change your whole entire lifestyle. It's not like you change one thing. You have to change everything about your life. Everything that you knew. And it's really hard because you mourn a piece of yourself all the time. We're so focused, when I go on our group page, we're so focused on the things that we can't do that we forget about the things that we can do. And you open up new neural pathways in your brain when you really focus on the things that you're good at. You know, and finding new hobbies and new growth. Yeah. You know, and I didn't believe any of this years and years and years ago, you know, in the moment, in the pain, because we all know what happens when you're in pain. You know, you can't think, you can't function, you don't know what to do, you don't know who to listen to, who's right, who's wrong. And I'm lucky because I have some of the best doctors in the world.
I was going to ask you, how long did it take you to find them? Or did you have to bounce, keep going to different ones?
I went through 4 neurosurgeons before I found the one at New England Baptist Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. I was lucky enough, my son almost passed away, and I had to spend a month with him in Boston Children's. And I met a woman who actually was from Florida, and she had been going to Germany for spine surgeries. So I ended up at the Steinem Hospital in Germany. So I ended up doing a lot of research about Germany and other countries and what they were doing over there, because over here we don't do that stuff yet. You know, over there they're on like let's just say like their 20th hip. Over here we're still using number 6, you know. So I just kept saying there's got to be a doctor out there who is innovative, who is doing his research, who keeps going, who is taking more classes, traveling to other countries. And there was. And I was disappointed in the beginning because a lot of doctors, instead of saying, hey, I'm not comfortable operating on you, or I don't really know about this, they'll tell you that there's nothing they can do and ship you out the door.
Yeah, a rheumatologist
when in all reality,
told me that, 2 days ago. Rheumatologist told me that 2 days ago. Nothing new for you. Go back to see your neurosurgeon. Yeah.
And you know, and not for nothing. I mean, I've seen the rheumatologist. There's really nothing he can do because and it's funny because the rheumatologist I see actually wrote a paper on DISH, and it's in the up to date. Actually, it's in our group, the file, and it's in the up to date for Brigham and Women's Hospital, which is, you know, a top learning hospital in the country. And he was like, I can't do anything for you. I go, okay, well, I'm going to find the A+ student, the one that skipped grades, that can do something for me. I just refuse to give up. Like, I'm not giving up. You know, I was supposed to already be paralyzed. That's what they told me, that I was going to be paralyzed in 6 years. And that I was like, no, that's not happening. Like, no. Mm-mm.
I applaud you. Hear that,
Thank
people?
You.
Anybody listening, you cannot give up.
No, you can't. And you just keep going. And so when I was in the nurses that had been there 30 years, and she said to me, listen, if you're going to get anywhere in the medical field, she goes, you have to be a bitch. You have to be assertive, and you have to be a bitch, and you have to fight for yourself because no one else is going to do it. Not your doctor, just you. And that was probably the best piece of advice that somebody gave me when I was down and out. Because even my family doesn't fight for me. You know?
How do they handle this?
Well, be honest, my husband doesn't like to talk about it, but he's always by my side. Like, he's the greatest support system that I have. And my kids have just always known a sick mom up until recently, so they've been like my nurses and, you know. But the rest of my family, they don't ever talk about it. They don't want to know. They don't ask. They don't see the seriousness of it.
It's like even with friends, the same thing.
Oh, I've lost a ton of friends. I have lost a ton of friends, but then I was like, no, they weren't friends. They were just acquaintances. Like, I want people that build me up, not people that tear me down, you know?
And get over it. It's not that bad. You know, we don't see it. You don't look bad. You know?
Oh, that's what my physical therapist said. He goes, you know, it sucks. He goes, you're disabled, know that, so they're going to treat you different because you're not in a wheelchair. And it's true because it's an invisible illness. And I've learned to hide the pain really well over the years. And then I was like, why am I hiding? Yeah, we do. And, you know, when I started to look at what was awesome and have gratitude every day. I know that sounds like cheesy, you know, but when I started to have gratitude for the things that were around me, and I'm talking like I would, you know, write down things I was grateful for every half an hour if I was having a bad day. It changes your mind. And when you're in chronic pain or in a pain cycle, right? It's like, think of it as a ball spinning round and round and round and round, like you're playing dodgeball and this ball spinning round and round. You need someone to come over and kick that ball so it shoots off in another direction. And you have the power to do that with your own brain. You just have to know where to look. So I researched a lot of people that had miraculous outcomes with massive tragedy in their life, and I followed what they did. What did they do? If someone is where you want to be, then you follow what they do. Everything may not work, but parts of it will. Yeah. The best thing, too, is like change your diet, you know? Stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing drugs.
That's one of my bad things. Well, that's my case. I mean, I deal with medical marijuana because I can't get anything that'll help me with my pain. So the drugs are staying. If I can change anything,
so like I do the liquid.
Habits,
eating habits.
Liquid what?
Because everything. So I do like a water soluble like CBD oil, and I'll do like a water soluble THC Delta 8 if I'm in a lot of pain.
Okay.
And it's just because like my lungs are bad, so I really can't smoke, you know. And edibles, you know, edibles are hard because it hits your stomach, and you're not getting the full effect, and everyone metabolizes it differently. But the water soluble stuff, just go, you know, it's in your mouth, swish it around, swallow it down. You know, it's instant. It's like instant.
Right.
It's within a couple minutes.
I use RSO.
I don't know what that is.
Rick Simpson oil.
Oh yeah, no, my God, you do?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, my friend does some of his suppositories.
No, I take it orally. I don't do the suppositories, but if you know, it doesn't take away the pain, but what it does is it makes you not to give a shit, and that's all I'm looking for. I'd rather the pain be gone, but if I can laugh about it, I can laugh about it.
Yeah.
Plus, it helps.
Because I found too, like,
helps me sleep.
That's the big one, sleep. I found that changing my food changed my life. And you know, the beginning of this. Okay, so let me give you an example. The beginning of this week, I couldn't walk. I couldn't get off the couch. I don't know what was wrong with me. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, my God, this is it. This is the beginning to the end because this is where I'm going paralyzed. Like, I couldn't stand up. And, you know, a week before that, I was training to go to TriFit in Tampa to do 7 events down there. So my friend up here was like, you need to go to the kinesiologist. So I'm like, all right. So I call him the witch doctor. He lives up the street on the dirt road. I went to see him. He goes, oh, you having dairy? I'm like, a little bit. And he's like, what else have you been eating? I'm like, some meat. He goes, your body can't process that stuff anymore because what you have is a metabolic disease. He literally had me chew on some nasty B6 flaxseed and something else. And I got up and walked out of there with no pain. And he said, every time you feel pain, chew on these. He goes, you're going to chew 4 of these every hour. You're going to go through 120 pills over the next 2 days. And I did. And that was, I went to see him Tuesday. By Thursday, I was back on my Harley, and I was back working. And so he told me I cannot have any more dairy because the human body cannot process that. So what happened was, what I thought was muscle spasms was my kidneys and my liver shutting down from food. And he said, no dairy, no oils, like get a really good, you know, high quality olive oil, no fried food, obviously, no bread, no wheat. And so I cut all that stuff out. And I already knew most of this stuff, but I feel amazing today talking to you right now. And I haven't told anyone this yet, but
like it.
I honestly had been taking pain medication, like a little bit, every day for I don't even know how long, 15 years. Sometimes I'd stop for a year before surgery. So I stopped taking my pain medication Tuesday, after I saw him, and I haven't had a pain pill since. And I'm not having any withdrawals or nothing like that, and I feel
Oh,
great.
you're lucky.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Withdrawals are
Yeah.
no fun either.
No, there isn't. And I think, too, at one point I was on fentanyl patches and morphine, and I sent my husband and the kids away, and I said, I'm going to withdraw off this by myself. And after a couple days, I laid there, and I didn't have any withdrawals, and I think that scared the shit out of me, knowing that my body could handle that amount of pain medication and nothing was going to happen. Because I've been on it all over the years.
What our bodies can do.
Yeah.
Imagine. You and
They're
me both.
miraculous. Yeah. It's crazy. But, you know, I was looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, I've had 500 MRIs, CAT scans, myelograms, bone marrow tests. I get a brain scan every year to see if I have multiple sclerosis. You know, there isn't any test that they perform that I haven't had. And to think that probably I didn't need a lot of those, and it's a lot of our health system is so messed up. It's a big money scam. We all know that.
Oh, that's for sure.
And, you know, it's hard because when I go on our, you know, group page and our support page, it's like I want everybody, but I feel like, you know, instead of taking your bad habits away, if you keep adding some good habits, you know, like, okay, so you drink soda, well, drink some more water, then the soda will go away, you know. But a lot of the foods we eat are full of connecting drugs that nobody knows about unless you research it. And it just wreaks havoc on our bodies, which exacerbates the dish.
Our bodies aren't meant to eat what we eat.
No. And then, you know, you're up and down because you end up getting situational depression from the dish. So what do? They put you on more medicine. Well, now you're on this medicine, and maybe it's making you hyper. So now they give you a sleeping pill. So now, you know, and then now you're groggy in the morning from the sleeping pill. So they're going to give you a wake-up pill to go with that. You know, and by the next thing you know, you look down and you get 50 pill bottles in front of you. And you don't even know which fucking end is up. Sorry. But
that's all right. Don't worry about it. My doctor, my general practitioner, he basically told me, he says, how you feeling? I said, I'm feeling a little depressed. You know, this is like after a year of dealing with this. And I'm 4 years in. I'm not that far. But he says, you know, you're depressed. I can give you something for it. I said, I'm depressed because I hurt. Can you give me something for the pain? Oh, no, we can't do that. But I can give you something for the depression. It's totally.
And maybe that depression. Yeah, and maybe that depression medicine will help with the pain, you know?
Yeah,
you know, I'll be honest.
That too.
In 2000 and, let's see, no, 2 years ago, actually, I almost took my life. I was in so much pain. I didn't know which end was up. I was actually on depression medication. I was still working out, but I had like a flare-up, and I didn't know what to do. So I'll be honest, because that's who I am. I sat there with a gun in my mouth, and I was like, holy shit, what are you doing? Who's going to take care of the dogs? Because at that point, my kids were older. And I was like, your dogs can't go to a shelter. And I called the suicide hotline. She didn't speak any English. So I was like, oh, my God, how are you going to save me? So I called my best friend, ended up laughing, and then I got some help. I ended up going to the hospital for 2 weeks, and they was like, there's nothing we can do for you. Your situation is so complicated, and we don't have anything for you. So they sent me back home, and they ended up joining a wonderful of amazing women that, you know, has changed my life since then. But I think about how in despair I was, and then I was like, I was literally having thoughts of suicide like all the time, and it wasn't me. It was actually the depression medication I was on. And when I stopped taking it, the thoughts went away. It was nuts.
Great.
Here's something that's supposed to help me, and all I want to do is kill myself.
Yeah, I know our medical professionals. I don't know if we use that word professionals anymore.
No.
At least for some of them, anyway.
Some of them, because some of them do care, some of them don't. But it's hard.
I guess it all depends on what insurance you have.
Yeah, and I'm lucky because where I live, even if you don't have insurance, because it's a real small, there's small communities where everybody knows everybody. They still take you in, they still give you the same care, they put you on a little payment plan, and out the door you go. And
Right.
they care, like you're in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I can't do the shots anymore or the infusions, and I surgery. So I was like, we got to figure this out. And that's what we've been doing.
And that's how you found this doctor.
Yeah, I found this doctor up the street, and he's amazing. But I do a lot of walking too, like in the woods and nature and grounding work, a lot of energy work, all stuff that I did when I was young in my 20s, but I forgot that I knew how to do.
When you were a hippie.
Really getting tuned. Yeah, I don't know, I never was a hippie either, but it's now I'm like, I don't even think of myself as a hippie. I go outside and I'm like, hey, universe, we're going to have a good day today,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing's going to get me down. No, and it listens. It listens. We have all this energy all around us. So pull it in to help your body,
Fired me. Serious.
And you have to surround yourself with positive people. If you have negative people in your life, you have to get rid of them, because whether you know it or not, your body sucks in that negative energy. You are the 5 people you hang around with. It's proven time and time again. So look at your circle of friends. If they're not helping you, lifting you up, building you up, if you guys aren't talking about goals, if you're gossiping, all that negative bullshit comes into your body, and it just makes the dish 100 times worse.
All the stress.
Manage stress. Don't do that poor me bullshit. No, because there's somebody out there right now who would give anything to be in Europe, because someone is 100 times worse off than you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really sad, because when we start the downfall, I don't know what they said to you when they told you had this, but for me it was like, oh, there's nothing you can do. You're going to die. You're going to mummify from the inside out. Like, that's literally what they said to me. And I was like, clearly you don't know who the fuck I am, because that's not happening.
You know who told me I had dish?
Who?
The Social Security doctor that I was sent to by Social Security Administration for Disability. My doctors didn't even tell me I had it. The Social Security doctor said, look at this word, Diffuse Idiopathic Skeletal Hyperostosis. And remember this, DISH, D-I-S-H, you should get your disability. That's what he told me. Naturally, he didn't write it down. Naturally, he didn't let me record that. But what he told me. And that's how I learned I had it. And then I started looking around and actually calling my doctors, and saying, what's the story with this? Oh, we don't know that much about it, and it's not something we handle. Well, could you tell me that 2 years ago? So now I'm looking for a second opinion. Let me ask you, you said you do yoga?
Yep. Aggressive yoga. Yes. So a lot of holds where it lasts for a minute or two in one position, because you have to. So clearly your muscles and your fascia want to protect the dish, the bones, right? They do. So you have to stretch them.
Let me just stop you for 1 second. Okay, we are not giving medical advice for you to go out and do anything. Anybody that's listening.
No.
This is just work. What worked for Cari. You choose.
Yeah, this is what worked for me and about 7 other people who have dish, because we all kind of have a healthy dish kind of group, and I'll be honest, a lot of people that had dish and found a way to help themselves left the group because it was just really depressing. So, it's really difficult, because I love their input and their knowledge on what they do. But you have to stay moving. You have to foam roll. You have to do physical therapy exercises. You have to do mobility exercises. And I don't, if you're on the couch, okay, if you're laying on the couch right now, you can literally do, oh my God, just start squeezing your muscles. Just start squeezing your muscles a little at a time. Baby steps move mountains. And I've been there on the couch where all I could do was squeeze my ass cheeks, and I would do it 100 times every couple of hours, until I could get up. Because right now, my bladder does not work at all, and I'm supposed to catheterize. And I was like, what are my options? He said, well, you can strengthen the muscles around it so you can squeeze your bladder and go to the bathroom. And that's exactly what I did. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to catheterize. Yeah, but I was like 29 years old. What woman wants to walk around with a pocketbook full of catheters? You don't. It's embarrassing. You don't. And it does. It'll work. You don't. But you have to keep moving. Aggressive yoga, a lot of weight training too. But don't go lifting 15, 20 pounds. I'm talking like 1 pound, 30, 30 reps, 1 pound, 15 reps, 1 pound, 5 pounds.
Yeah, just get your body moving.
Get your body moving. Walk, If it hurts to do something, then research, how can I make this not hurt? Because a lot of times it's not just bone, it's the muscle, it's the fascia underneath your skin, it's your ligaments. It's all that stuff.
Okay, and as far as the vitamins that you were taking, that he had given you, is that like something over the counter, or is that something he just sells?
No, that was something that he sells, and I looked it up. I'll put a picture. It was like food something, but I'm gonna go back to him because he literally told me we're gonna put out the fire, then we're gonna hunker down the storm, and then we're gonna get us to the sunny weather. So I'm gonna go back. I did have a DNA test done on how my body works and how I process certain vitamins and foods and things like that. He's going to go back and we're going to test food allergies, which I think is huge. Like, everyone should get a food allergy test. Because if your body's allergic to something, you can't always see on the outside. Sometimes it's happening on the inside and we can't see it. And for us, it's all happening on the inside, because I have a lot of nerve damage still. I still have spinal cord.
I was going to say, when you get that information, can you send me an email with that?
Yeah, totally can.
I'll share it. I noticed that you are an administrator on the page.
Yes.
Okay, how'd that come about?
That came about because someone on the page with it passed away. And then the group was kind of getting, I'm not sure what the word, like a lot of drama. And I don't deal in drama, it was a lot of fighting. There was a website being created and someone else was taking a lot of all of our information without asking, that kind of stuff, which you can't do. It was a big drama thing. So they put me in because, as you can see clearly, like when I go in, I don't feed into anything. I just kind of add my 2 cents and I go in and I'm no BS. I'm no bullshit.
And that's the way, that's the way the internet should be, social media. It's enough with it, it's so negative, so much of it.
It's so negative. And, and like we have 2 different groups. So like our support group is awesome. Yeah. If you're having a bad night and you think you're going to take your life, do a video, reach out for help. I can't even tell you how many people have reached out to me who have been in that. And I like that. Like, reach out to me. Like, I'll talk you through it. I'll walk you through it. It's like I'm a dish sponsor, I guess. I don't know. It's weird, but because I've been there, it's not like I'm talking, out of my ass. I've been there where you're at. I've been there. Because there isn't anything this disease hasn't done, because it's actually calcifying my lungs right now. So I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Yeah,
but
that's, it's no different than AA. It's no different than any support group that you belong to. Look, you gotta follow in the footsteps of those that have walked before you.
Yeah.
People need to understand that.
I had a woman in there, like,
Go ahead.
lash out at me and be nasty and mean and whatever. And I was like, listen, I get it. I get that you're angry. But take that anger and go walk to the kitchen. Do a couple dips. Like, do some leg lifts, Because in the beginning, like, I think my workouts were fueled by anger. I was just so angry. Like, why is this happening to me? Why me? Why me? And I really use that anger to power movement. Because anger is such a weird emotion, and you can have adrenaline surges. And so, like, use that to do some movement. And then you're just going to be like, okay, all right, I'm not angry anymore. I'm calm. My brain's changed.
No, all good advice. All good advice. Everybody should take it and eat it.
Even if it's a little bit, even if you're listening to this and you take one or two things away, that's awesome. And if you have things to add, oh my God, add,
Exactly.
I want to know.
Let me ask
I
you,
want to know what people are doing.
They could post it on the page, right in there.
Yep.
And we all read it. Let me ask you. Do you have a website that you want to, shout out to, or?
I don't have a website. I have a Facebook page called Fuck It. It was called Fuck It, I'm Bitchin'. It's now called Fuck It, I'm Alive, Fit and Free. It's on Facebook. And I have a website that's kind of in the works, but I just kind of dabble in that. And then my Instagram is Carries You Onward, because I really feel like I'm going to carry you forward until you can carry yourself. I'm just going to give you that little bit of push that you need to keep moving forward.
Oh, you certainly do that.
And I just want to keep getting healthier and better and keep learning. And I've really been sitting and listening to my body, like in tune with my body, which is weird because I never did that before. Like listening, like, oh, okay, we don't like that,
There goes. So I'm noticing a lot of things I don't like happening. 60, I never thought I'd be feeling the way I'm feeling, but got to keep going, right?
Yeah, you got to keep going. And it hits everyone different, too. But
my
honesty,
my
like,
is a lot of accidents, so.
Yeah, I have a ton of accidents, too, like, doing stupid stuff that I shouldn't have done and surprised I lived. But you have to keep moving every day. Because even for me, if I lay on the couch for one day, the next day my back is killing me. Because it's all my lower, I had like 4 lower spine surgeries, and now from all my L's and my S's have fused themselves together on their own. But my discs are still bulging and herniated, so it's still really painful if I don't move.
Win for losing, huh?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
That you can't win for losing.
No. And don't give up the things you enjoy. Yeah,
No,
if you enjoy doing something, like really enjoy doing something, but you're having a hard time doing it, figure out a different way, like modify it. There's always a way to modify things. Or find a subsidiary of what you like to do, something that's a little bit easier. And I think too, I notice for the men, it's a lot harder because men really value themselves on their careers. And when you have DISH and, you're in construction or you're doing something that's physical labor, whatever, and now you can't do it anymore. And you're, 40, 50, and you're looking at like, oh my God, I have to have a whole new career. It definitely gets depressing. But now it's time to think about, what did I want to do when I was little? Like, what did I want to be when I grew up? Because it's never too late.
It's never too late to grow up.
Yeah, it's never too late.
All right, Cari, I'm going to wrap this up because 45 minutes in, and I'm just going to wrap it up.
Okay.
And I got to get something. How'd that storm work out? Did you get anything?
Yeah,
Don't
it's
worry
actually
about
storming right now in front of me, the rain, but I had all my girls like manifest it into existence that this was going to happen. I was like, everyone, manifest it. So literally all these women across the world right now are like sending out their energy that this was going to happen. So, you know.
Well, I'm glad it did, and we got to talk. If you could share it, that's great. I'll share it as well. I'll share your website when I get a chance, or your Facebook page. And it was a real pleasure speaking with you. I've been looking forward to
It
it.
was a real nice speaking to you, yes. And if anyone ever needs anything, just reach out to me because I'm always here.
And we will do that. Thank you so much, Cari.
All right, thank you. Have a great night.
Too.
Bye-bye.
Feel good.